Well, now, if I have never told you, allow me to tell you now. And if you've ever heard of me talking about this thing, then you better listen again, okay? You know what I'm talking about today? Compound interest times time, guess what it makes you? It makes you wealth. And how exactly does that happen? Listen, if there is something wonders that can actually make you something as far as the money is concerned, is the compound interest. And I'm going to show you very quickly here, all right? Never forget one thing. We have two types of interest. One, we have what we call simple interest, okay? Simple interest. And then we have the compound interest. Let me just explain a little bit so that you can see the wonder of the compound interest. If I may start with the simple interest, this is basically where you take, let's say, 100,000, you invest it somewhere, maybe it gives you 10,000 at the end of, this is 100,000, all right? 100,000, it gives you 10,000 at the end of the year. I'm just using simple numbers to explain. Do you know what the simple interest means? Even if you put that money, even if you never withdraw that money, just keep it there, you still get 10,000 again. All right, you still get 10,000 again. That is year one, year two, and year three. You're still gonna get this money. Is the only one. This money that you have invested is called the principal amount. That is what you're gonna be earning you the interest. The 10,000 that is accumulating, it is not earning you anything. But if now you change the language, and by the way, if you don't know, this is the kind of an interest that they give you in a bank when they tell you fix your money, or other those funny investments that they usually give you there. They tell you that they're investments. Okay, today I'm going to teach you exactly what is compound interest multiplied by time, why it translates to wealth. And this is very basic principle. Okay, the compound interest now is quite interesting, and this is exactly how it works. Compound interest, this is where you put your 100,000 in an investment. Maybe let's say you can pick any investments. For this case, for the purposes of explanation, let me pick money market fund. You put your 100,000 in an investment, it gives you 10,000. For example, I'm not saying it will give you 10,000. I'm using it as an example. Don't crucify me on the comment section. Oh, and by the way, if you're still here with me and you're watching me, come on, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure that you smash that like button. Make sure that again that you subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you'll be notified whenever we upload a new good video. Because by the way, I noticed some of you guys are watching my videos and you have not subscribed. Go ahead and subscribe and like the video. By the way, also don't forget to leave me a comment on the comment section. Now, say this 10,000 gives you the 10,000, this the 100,000 gives you the 10,000 on the first year. Okay, this is the first year. Now, what happens now if you don't withdraw this money? If you put it there, if you just let it accumulate, guess now happens now on the at the end of the first year, guess how much you'll be having? 110,000. That is the 100,000 the principal, and the 10,000 which is your interest. Now this is where the interesting things happen. Assuming that you're getting 10% continually, okay, now what happens is now it will be now 110%. This will be 10% of 110,000. This is what happens now. This happens like 100,000. The principal amount will earn you 10,000, you know, just as usual. And then the 10,000 will also earn you 10%, which is 10,000. Now will earn you a 10%, which is 1,000. Guess happens now. At the end of the year two, you will not have 10,000, but you'll have 11,000, meaning at the end of the year two, you'll be having what? Assuming that you don't put any other amount out there, you'll be having your 100,000, and then you'll be having your what? Your 11,000. And then we go to the year number three. The year number three, now it will be still 100,000, 10% of it, and of course the 11,000, 10% of it. Then what you realize is that the money accumulates at a very, very high rate. Now that expansion, you may not be realize it on the year one, you may not realize that on the year two, but the moment you clock the year three continuously, that's the time now you start to realize that, hey, guess what? I'm actually making some crazy amount of money here. And this becomes a little bit beautiful if you're continually putting some money into that investment, meaning you're expanding the basket of the principal amount. You started with 100,000, you've pumped in some other cash out there, you've pumped another cash out there, then that keeps on expanding. And let me tell you one thing, a great person who ever existed on this world by the name Albert Einstein said that compound interest is actually eighth wonder of the world. If you know it, you're gonna take advantage of it, and if you do not, then you're gonna take something we call you're gonna pay for that. And then what happens is that when we say compound interest multiplied by time is is equivalent to wealth. What is wealth? Wealth simply means, because we have to define everything here so that you understand what I'm talking about. Wealth is different from riches. See, riches simply is basically when you can be able to pay your bills in time. When you pay your bills in time, okay? When you really don't struggle to do that. See, you have to pay you're paying your bills in time. If it's about your rent, or maybe if you have your car, you can fuel, you can take your kids to school, like you're not struggling financially. But there must be something that you're doing actively for you to sustain that kind of a lifestyle that you're living. However, I've seen some people who live on a blink of collapse, whereby if you're not working, then you're in a problem. And you may find some of the guys who in the middle income are actually considered rich. Why? They are considered rich by the poor, because they are able to pay their bills in time. And this is why we say the middle incomers, what they run after is to actually pay their bills in time, because probably some of them come from the poor background, so they know how or what it actually means to struggle to pay the bills. But now when we talk about the wealth here is not only physical thing, that when you can say, hey, I have an X amount in my bank, or have my X amount in an investment which is giving me an X amount. No, here we still have the mental issue. We still have what we call the mindset and something. Let me ask a very simple question. If you were to concentrate on the compound interest for the next 10 years, tell me how many things you're going to end up with. And I know some of you will be like, wow, Joseph might have a lot of money. Most of the people will actually view the money perspective. But there is something else that you're going to end up with if you are to invest your money in a period of 10 years. You're going to end up with what we call the character. The character of, guess what? If you had the patience, can you imagine this? If you meet a doctor who is about to do a surgery to somebody, or maybe you or something, and God forbid, and that guy tells you, I've been this operation for the last 20 years. I've handled such a case many, many times. I can't even count how many times they are. Then what does that person does? He or she is actually building trust deep inside of you. Hey, this guy knows. What if somebody tells you, guess what? I'm just a fresh graduate. I graduated from university, from the School of Medicine, and this is my first case. So I'm really crossing my fingers that it be successful. What does that exactly tell you? It actually builds that kind of a fear or some sort of unsettlement or something inside of you. All right. See, now same case applies when it comes to investments. If truly you are for example, let's say you have 100,000 with you that you have saved for a certain long period of time, maybe 2 years, 1 year, 3 or 5 years, and then somebody asks you, what exactly do I need to do for me to actually make 100,000 or save 100,000? You truly have the way of how doing that. You tell the guy, guess what? I have been saving 5,000 continuously in this period of time, and I have this amount of money. So you have the character, you have the habit inside of you, and also you have the know-how. Those are the three things that you actually gain when you engage in this investment method that takes a little bit of time. Number one, you obviously gain the money. That's an obvious. Two, you gain the character. Three, you also gain what we call the the knowledge and the know-how to come up with that specific thing. See, now, wealth, this is simply when you create systems. Wealth is actually existence of systems that makes you money, without your presence, okay? This is where you have some a little bit, this is where we talk the language of portfolio. This is when we talk the language of portfolio. Why? You don't have one thing that is bringing in cash. No, you have A, B, C, D, and then all of them put in one basket, which actually generates some different amount of money out there. You have some soft assets like an MMF, you have some bills with you, and you have some, say, land, you've built some rentals, that's a hard asset. You have something else like index fund, you have some stock somewhere, and also you have some businesses that are actually bringing you some cash here and there. See, now when you talk about the compound interest multiplied by time brings the results to this. How? And by the way, not all the investments will actually give you compound interest. Some investments actually do not give you compound interest. And the compound interest is usually given by, in Kenya, I'm referring this to Kenya, you're going to get that from the mutual fund. That is the money market fund, for example. You get this of course from what we call the stocks. If again you don't need your money, you can actually accumulate out there. When you get your dividends, you plow back, you get your capital gain, you never sell your shares, so you can actually use that route to actually accumulate more money continuously. Three, you can actually use money market fund, which is the most popular method to actually have the compound interest, and that one does not require like a hefty amount of money for you to get started with. And again, the other thing that you can can get started with is when you invest on the shares. It's when you have some money coming in from their shares, and then you plow back, they come in, plow back, you come in, plow back, and then after some time, yes, does not give you liquidity, but sometimes you can liquidate your shares and get the money and get out of the place and go to whatever you would like to do. So one thing I will tell you, one thing, yeah, is that compound interest, we've talked about that. Let's talk about a little bit about time. Time, basically, this is where we say when you are young, obviously you have more time, okay? But what happens when you are old? And by the way, old is that thing that you cannot really tell, hey, this is what it means to be old. But I'm assuming that if you are above 35 years, again, in Kenya, you are no longer regarded as a youth. You're regarded as, I don't know, I don't want to use the term adult anyway, because you are adult before. But the point is, the moment you clock above 35 years, things tend to rush or to run at a very high speed. This is when you want to do multiple things at the same time. You want to school your kids, you want to build your home, you want to buy a property, you want to have all the investment that Joseph talks about, and all those kind of things. And this is that age that if you're not a bit careful, you can actually go ahead and develop anxiety. Why? Because you're looking at your peers who took action of their lives way earlier, say at late 20s, because most of the people tend to be a little bit serious about life at their late 20s, from 27 and above. And you didn't do nothing. Here you are 35 or above 35, and you've not done anything. So you tend to touch most of the thing, like you're behaving like a 20-year-old. Why? We say that 20 to 30, do more things. Try as many things as you can. From 30 to 40, try to do or follow somebody who you actually admire, and somebody who is doing that what you'd admire to have in your life. From 40 to 50, do that what you understand. From 50 to 60, inspire people. For above 60, just relax, set aside, and let others run the show. That is how exactly it works about. So what happens is that when you actually want to take advantage of the compound interest, one, you have actually to take it or to start early, irrespective of your age that you're having. And when you are old at this particular point, this is where you can leverage on two things. You can leverage on the amount that you're earning, leverage on the amount, and you can as well leverage on the time, though it might be limited. For example, a guy at 20, say you're joining university, as of now, you can decide to commit, let's say, 1,000 shilling, just 1,000 shilling each, and this is like $10, this is like $10, 1,000 shilling each and every month. You can sacrifice some some one or two things here and there, and then you pump that money towards a money market fund, and then you multiply that by 4 years, and of course you are getting what we call compound interest, and you can be able to get some cash. But let's say you are 35, 40 or thereabout, and you want to achieve something at 45. That means you have 35 years or 15 years to go. You can leverage. Maybe you can put aside like 10,000 each and every month, and multiply that by 5 or 4 or 15 years. You can be able to get something. Never forget this: the power of 5,000 put in a money market fund continuously in a period of 10 years with an average interest of 13%. You're gonna get yourself the first million. You can just imagine if you put 10,000 at something of sort. So compound interest, that is the animal and the beast that most of the people rely on to, so that they can be able to create wealth and move to the next level. You know why? Because investments do not make you a lot of money at a go. Investments actually makes money when you give them time, because they have low risk, therefore they have low returns. But if you want to make some quick money, for example, I don't know, you have your 10,000 somewhere, 20,000 somewhere, focus on multiplying that money using other vehicles and other tools, and then that's what you accumulate, then bring forth towards this side. Because investments, I always tell you this, and I would like you to understand, investment don't necessarily make you money. Investment safeguards that what you have, and also make some returns out of it. And that's why you see somebody building a flat, maybe worth maybe like a 200 million, 300, or even a billion or something. Most of those people, they are not necessarily doing that to make some cash. No, they're doing that to hide their money, to safeguard their money, so that the generations and the generations to come, they can be able to benefit out of that investment. So that's why you say from 21 years all the way to 45, focus on multiplying your money. From above 45, focus on what we call the safeguarding your money through investments. But never ever grow old with just assets that are not generating any cash flow, because when you're old, you survive on vitamin M, and that is money. That's why your mother and your father, your aunties and uncles, or your older brothers, they always give you a call asking you for money, not title deeds. You have to understand that. Anyway, that's good Joseph speaking. If you would like to get a hold of me, always grab that number of mine from the description of this specific video, and you can give me a call. You can either get my booklets about money market fund. I have them ready, T-bills, T-bond circles. They are all available. at 280 Kenyan shillings. For now, it's a goodbye and see you in the next one.